Welcome back to another episode of the Jockstrap Podcast. This is your host, Nick, along with your co-host, Colin, and we have a few special guests today. And when I say special, I mean it. We got Connor and Brendan, the hunchback fuck from Fort Wayne.
What's going on?
So the first thing we're going to talk about here today is the Pistons finally buying out Blake Griffin's contract. What do you have to say about that, Colin?
I'm not surprised I'm surprised it took this long. I'm not sure what was taking so long. They weren't going to trade him because nobody fucking wants him, so they should have bought him out a lot earlier than this.
Yeah, he can dunk. He jumped over a car, bro. He jumped over a car. Why would you not want this guy on your team?
He's not washed in the slightest.
Shut up. Yes, he is.
Must be a Lakers fan.
But yeah, so he gave back $13.3 million off of his $75 million contract, and he just recently signed with the Nets. Any surprise there?
No, not really. That would seem like the team that was the favorite, like even before he was bought out. So I'm not surprised that he signed with them. Probably because he wanted to play with DeAndre Jordan again. So not really surprising, and because he's never won a ring because. You know, he played on the Clippers with Chris Paul, so he wants to win a ring.
Yeah, let's fuck them up 2 years in a row. Let's get it. Fuck the Clippers.
Only thing the Jazz have ever done correctly.
Shut the fuck up.
I would argue Karl Malone. Both the allegations and the draft pick.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Yeah, Chris Paul. Chris Paul, on the other hand, let's talk about him. This dude can't even make a fucking layup in the skills challenge. He chokes whenever there's any sort of pressure on him. What a fucking bad player.
I mean, he also passed like magic and assist stat this week. So
who gives a fuck? It's all about the rings.
Yeah, he can pass though.
He's the 2 seed right now.
Right now. He's going to end up being like the 4 seed and get first rounded. So
he's rearranging LeBron's guts in the playoffs.
I mean, so is Rashard Lewis to his fucking wife and Delonte West to his mom. So let's get into our next point here. The Warriors are looking to make some moves at the trade deadline. What do you got for us on this, Colin?
It seems like the Warriors are currently interested in a Victor Oladipo trade. And they're also looking at Otto Porter, too, from the Bulls.
Yeah, that would be a good trade for them. They definitely need to get a secondary ball handler. I know Curry's wife is pretty good at handling the balls, but too bad she can't be on the court. I think the Otto Porter fit would be pretty good for them. They need some shooters. Curry's been having an MVP season. Let's go to the hunchback on this one. What do you got for us?
I don't know. I heard their media teams try to bring in Doris Burke, though.
Dude, she's got some sick handles.
She's actually a baller, low key.
Did we see the Doris Burke commentary in the last week? She's talking. I think it was a KD play, or no, it was a Udonis play, and she's like, "It's not about how you come; it's about how hard you come." Like, she's always dropping those hints.
She's dope.
The real question, Colin, has Doris Burke fucked an NBA player?
Absolutely.
If so, who?
Probably
your
half of them.
top 3 options.
If so, why is it Devin Booker?
Probably half the NBA, if we're going to be honest.
All right, you have to pick your top 3 of who she fucked.
Top 3 all-time Doris Burke fucks.
I'm definitely going Udonis Haslem, number 1. He's been around for forever, and he's just low-key enough that I could see it happening. I'm taking number 2. I'm going to go Rudy Gobert because he fucks.
He also started COVID, so fuck him.
No, that's pretty dope, though, actually. It gave me quarantine and unemployment for like 5 months, so sick.
Hey, same with Colin.
And then number 3, that fuck Doris Burke. I'm going to have to go back to Devin Booker. I think that's a good pick.
Has anyone seen Devin Booker's cock?
I've heard it's gigantic.
He's definitely number 1 on my list for the Doris Burke. I'm going DeMar DeRozan with number 2 because he's going to go Bompton in that pussy. Number 3, I'm gonna have to go Coochie Man. Jokic might be new in the league, but he's been around Doris Burke.
I'm gonna go number 1, Kevin Durant. Slender man, she likes him long and extra skinny. Number 2, Devin Booker. I mean, this dude can't even wear fucking gym shorts without having his third leg dragged down to his fucking knees. And number 3, I'm gonna throw in a wild card here. We're gonna go with Matthew Dellavedova. That dude's teeth are so fucked up. He probably got it caught on her clit or something and almost yanked a tooth out.
Are you just gonna rename this podcast like "We Want to Fuck Devin Booker"? That's what we're renaming it.
Hey, game respects game.
Welcome to the Devin Booker fan club.
Oh man, but yeah, what do the Warriors need to do?
Definitely need to get some more defense, I would say. Otto Porter would be good for that because he's a 3-and-D player, so get more defense there because Steph Curry is a pretty terrible defender. And who's their other players? Andrew Wiggins. He's terrible too. He's just terrible all around.
Oh, yeah.
So he's fucking terrible.
But you know, the next MJ.
He's a good defender.
Great hair.
The next MJ.
Wiggins is a good defender.
Is he though?
He's probably the best perimeter defender on that team.
I mean,
That's
Draymond-
not.
I mean,
with Clay out. I guess Draymond you can case for, but he's fucking fat.
I would say Draymond. That team, he was pretty important. That team's championship. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Another huge thing also, Draymond Green.
Yeah, I have seen that too. He's been playing a different role for them. He's kind of an assist first guy, pass first guy now, and that's kind of working out. Curry's really blossomed with that. He's helping James Wiseman develop. Wiseman is starting to play pretty good, and they've actually been getting some pretty decent bench production lately. But I could see them adding some defenders, some 3-and-D guys, and I could see them making a late run in the playoffs. Anytime you have Curry, who's the best shooter of all time in the league, you know, he can hit some fucking daggers in the playoffs and definitely send them on a run. So let's go into our next point here. The NBA fined Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. I mean, these motherfuckers are so thirsty for money. They'll fine you for pretty much anything. What do you have to say about this, Colin?
Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of bullshit in my opinion. They're literally just letting out their anger for refs making calls they don't think are correct, and they're being fined for it. That's kind of bullshit. I don't really know what else to say about that.
Anyone who watched that game knows. They know they're right.
Yeah,
that game was fucking horse shit.
I mean, do we remember back when the NBA fucking fined Magic Johnson for literally just saying Giannis was a good player?
And having AIDS.
Yeah, but I mean, that's
David
just...
Stern gave him AIDS. It's a conspiracy.
I mean, somebody's got to stop him. AIDS might as well.
Mm-hmm. It may need to stop his fucking son, because I don't know what the fuck that creature is.
Hey, D-Wade's in the same boat.
So, Colin, what do you think that the NBA needs to do next to stop all this stupid bullshit in terms of the fining?
I mean, fucking get rid of Adam Silver. Fuck this dude. He is literally might be the worst commissioner in the major 3 sports right now. And no, Connor, hockey's not one of the major 3. Fuck hockey.
You still watch baseball?
It's better than hockey. It's better than fucking hockey.
Hockey's the greatest sport on earth.
What would your
and the
argument
greatest
be
sport on ice.
for Goodell being above Adam Silver?
For Goodell, he doesn't he doesn't fine people for just letting out their anger. Oh yeah, that was a bullshit call. Fined. Goodell doesn't do that.
Yeah, you're right. He does not. He totally lets people get their anger off, hitting people. In particular, women in an elevator. He lets those guys off a lot. I don't know, just child beaters, woman beaters, lets them off, but they can get their anger out, so that's dope.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't fine them for that.
That's not a bad thing. That's why the NFL is dope.
Hey, Ray Lewis got away with murder. Twice. Once in the Super Bowl.
Shout out to O.J. Simpson. He's innocent. So, yeah, the NBA is extremely fine happy right now. but we're not surprised. They're just going to keep this up. They lost so much money during the whole COVID bubble scenario that they're trying to make it back any way possible. And I do agree that Adam Silver is the worst commissioner in sports right now. And that's pretty impressive considering that Goodell and Manfred both suck pretty big dicks. So let's go to the next point
I
here.
forgot about hockey once again.
Shut the fuck up. Hockey does not matter.
Top one.
I do like hockey a lot more than I used to, but I still don't rank it in that like top 3 category.
Nah, it's hockey and everyone else. Like,
shut up.
Who cares about NBA? It's rigged.
It is rigged.
NBA most rigged, NFL next because of Roger Goodell, and then probably baseball.
I feel like baseball is kind of hard to rig. Players still have like a very big say in the outcome of the game, but
they just always get caught.
Yeah, they do. For NFL though, the refs have such an impact with flags, like you seen in the fucking Saints game. And no, this is not an excuse for the fucking crawfish people of Louisiana to fucking bitch about the refs.
Build the wall around Louisiana.
Yeah, and the wise words of Tom Segura, I'm down to build that wall if it's around the state of Louisiana.
But that's just an instance where it's pretty obvious the refs have an impact on the game. And same with NBA. There's been instances where refs have actually came out and admitted that they've rigged games for casinos and mobs and etc. But in terms of the NBA commissioner, they said that the 2021-2022 NBA season is going to be back to normal. What do you have for us on this, Colin?
So Commissioner Adam Silver sat down and spoke with the media over the All-Star break, and he said that he's optimistic that the next NBA season is going to start on time. So, I mean, that's obviously good for NBA fans and for their pockets, too, because they can't afford to miss any more revenue right now after you said with the whole bubble thing. They lost out a lot of money with that.
Yeah, I agree. It'll be nice to have a full season. I'm pretty sure by then, hopefully, we'll be letting in 100% of people to games because I definitely want to get back out there and see a Bulls game and Pacers game whenever I have a chance. Even though the Pacers kind of suck now, I mean, it'll still be nice to go out there and see them play. What about you?
The entire state of Indiana.
You gonna go to Utah?
No.
Why not?
I'd rather miss a Jazz game than go to Utah.
I know you're Mormon now, so
I'll watch him at Indy.
Would you rather Durf or soak? The question for every Mormon. Do you know what either of those are?
No.
Okay.
Get you some nice thick Levi's.
Durfing's where you dry hump with really thick jeans on so that you're not having sex because they can't have sex. And then soaking is where they put it in, but they just leave it in.
I know what soaking is.
Yeah. Which one are you doing when you go to Utah all those times?
Either. I'm abstinent.
I think soaking's better because at least you're getting it in there. But does it count?
At least there's some movement.
Can you lose your V card if you're just soaking?
Ask Devin Booker.
He can't even fit it in, bro, so he must be Durfing.
back.
And we're back on fucking Devin Booker.
All right, let's go on to our next point here. NBA teams and players that have surprised us most in terms of before the All-Star break performance. For me, number one team is the Jazz. And yes, this is a fucking surprise because who would have thought the Jazz would be any good this year? But I actually have the number one Jazz fanboy sitting next to me right now who can go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about why the Jazz have had such an impressive start to the season.
Okay, the first thing I want to say, though, is as big of a Jazz fan as I am, I got to go with the Knicks. The Knicks are like the 4 or 5 seed right now. Julius Randle's balling. Like, I thought they were any higher than like a 13.
Obi Toppin is losing dunk contests.
Yes.
Obi Toppin?
Obi Toppin?
Sure.
Some sloppy Toppin?
No, but I don't know. Jazz they have a lot of good players all around. They don't really have any weaknesses. They're not like exceptionally good in any area, but they're just really good at everything. A lot of 3-point shooters. Good spacing.
Yeah.
Kind of just shuts down the paint, so.
For my player that I have that's impressing me really before the All-Star break is Jordan Clarkson. At this point, he has 6 Man of the Year locked down so much that it's not even close. He could play like maybe 10 or 15 more games in the season and still win it pretty single-handedly. The next player that's really impressing me is Joel Embiid. I did not expect him to have the year that he's having right now on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. He's playing like an MVP on both sides. He's passing the ball great. He's shooting the three well, which is one of the big things that the league is moving towards. If LeBron somehow wins MVP this year, that'll just show you how rigged the NBA is and how they're kind of making him chase Jordan's shadow just because they want him to fuck off. Yeah, no. LeBron fucking sucks. Let's be honest. That Space Jam movie's gonna suck dick.
He's so much better than Jordan.
Shut the fuck
I'll
up.
go
What
with
did
it.
Jordan's Lola Bunny look like?
I will say, I'm shitty about Lola Bunny.
Yeah,
That
no.
is the biggest loss of this year.
Hey, we did it with Sonic. We can do it with Lola. Come on. Get the campaign going.
If LeBron wins a ring, he automatically loses it just because of his Lola Bunny stealing it. It's going to be coming out around the same time, too.
Colin, what do you have for your most impressive team and players so far?
For a team, it's the Suns. I really didn't think they were going to be this good, but obviously the power of Devin Booker, he's really driving them right now.
Driving it in there.
Yep.
A
And
whole
then,
team effort in the hotel.
apparently. And then for a player, it's how do you say his first name? Jeremy Grant?
Jeremy?
I have no idea. But
Jeremy?
the Grant guy from the Pistons, him. I really didn't think he was gonna live up to that contract the Pistons gave, but he's playing really good so far this year, so I'm surprised. He's definitely my biggest surprise as a player.
Yeah. Let's go into our disappointments so far. For me, the team that I'm disappointed in is the Dallas Mavericks. Unfortunately, they have not been living up to the hype. Luka has still had an all-around really good season, but with Porzingis being injured most of the year, their front office kind of failing to get a deal done to get them a third star on the floor, second, considering Porzingis only plays like a fourth of the games. They've just kind of really failed me. They're not even in the playoff picture right now for the West. I think they're like a 10th or a 9th seed, but they've been a huge letdown. For player, I'm going to go with Drew Holiday. I was expecting massive things from him after being traded to the Bucks, especially with how much the Bucks gave up to get him. And yes, he has been injured, but when he has played, he hasn't really gelled that well with Giannis. But Giannis is a really hard player to mesh with. It would take a really good shooter and a really good defender to fit well with him, which Drew Holiday is. He's one of the best defenders in the league, but he just hasn't been spacing the floor well enough. Giannis likes to take control of the ball, and he's just kind of out there looking clueless most of the time. What do you have for your disappointment so far?
Okay, so mine would be the Bucks defense. So the last 2 years, the Bucks defense has been the best in basketball, and this year they dropped all the way down to 10th. So, I mean, obviously you expect a little bit of a decline, but that's a pretty big decline. They went from the best to around league average. So I'm pretty disappointed in the Bucks defense so far. And
You think they
then
realize defense doesn't matter?
what was that?
You think they realize defense just doesn't matter anymore?
Maybe, I mean, look at the All-Star game. Maybe they're right. There's no defense played in there. I don't really have a player that disappointed me. I don't know, I couldn't really think of like one definitive player.
What about Devin Booker?
No, he never disappoints. I guarantee you that.
I'm kind of disappointed that Ben Simmons fucked a tranny. That was pretty surprising to me. But apparently he tag teamed her with the whole squad, so
Probably Dwight Howard
maybe
too.
maybe the 76ers are the biggest letdown, despite how well they're playing.
Pretty disappointing player, too, is Tyler Hero after his bubble nonsense last year. Like, he's been decent this year, but nothing insane after putting on the show last year in the bubble.
Yeah, that is true.
And he does look like Sheen from Jimmy
He
Neutron.
does look like Shane from Dream.
Go ahead and give us a Carl impression.
Yeah, Jimmy's mom, Llama-palooza.
Let's go on to our next point here.
Why was that practiced?
He's been waiting for this day his whole life. So we have no rule changes coming to the MLB this season. I mean, is this really a surprise to you, Colin?
No, not really. Rob Manfred's a fucking idiot, and even though it seems like a lot of people are for the universal DH, he continues to just not want it for whatever reason. And I mean, I will say though, the expanded playoffs for MLB is kind of stupid. I mean, you shouldn't half the MLB should make it. So I do agree with that. But in terms of the universal DH, that should have been brought back 100%.
Yeah, I agree. That makes baseball more interesting to watch. And even with baseball being my favorite sport, considering I played it my whole life, it's pretty fucking boring to watch. I'm going to admit that. So adding a DH in there on both sides, on the AL and the NL, it makes it a little bit more interesting because just in general, more runs and home runs are going to be hit over that segment of the year with a better hitter who is literally paid just to hit baseballs.
Are they still using the juiced ball?
Rumor has it they took that away. So they actually admitted to using it because they said like they've put new technology in place to make sure it's like less effective this year. Did you hear about that, Colin?
Yeah, I did. I heard that they were gonna use different balls this year that wouldn't, fly as far. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's pretty dumb. I mean, people watch baseball to see like fucking dingers and 500-foot home runs. So
The better question: do people watch baseball? Hockey, boy.
shut the fuck up. So let's do a little hockey take here since you want to talk about hockey so much. Give us a little hockey rundown.
Well, we've got the Blackhawks in 6 in the Stanley Cup Finals. They're winning it all again. Patrick Kane's winning MVP. Alex DeBrincat's winning Ted Lindsay. And Kevin Lankinen's winning Rookie of the Year. So pretty much the Hawks sweep. And then Brad Marchand dies in the fucking shallow pit. Colin?
Back to you.
Fuck, I don't know. I don't watch hockey.
What do you think of Malcolm Subban,
Who is that?
the Blackhawks backup goalie?
Oh, I think he's fucking terrible then.
Wow, you're racist.
He's a backup.
That's
He's
a
a
lot of
fucking,
race.
he's a bench player. Stay on the fucking bench.
Wow, stay on the bench. Stay on the back of the bus. We get it.
Back to MLB news.
So we're going to get off.
Jackie Bradley Jr. signing with the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, maybe one of the only good things the city of Milwaukee has seen this year.
Good beer.
They do have good beer. I mean, decent cheese curds. I mean, it's pretty much it, though.
Terrible violence.
I've been up there. It's a shithole.
I don't actually know that that's true.
Milwaukee sucks dick. So, I mean, if you're from Milwaukee, go jump off a fucking bridge. Colin, take it away.
I'm not sure how to continue with that point, but
What do you think about the Brewers?
think about what?
The Brewers.
Oh, they're a terrible team. Fuck them.
So we've already said fuck Milwaukee, fuck Louisiana, and fuck the entire state of Indiana.
I like Indiana.
California, you're next. Fuck you. I hope an earthquake hits you and fucking knocks you into the ocean.
Utah, you're just Mormon, California.
Like Mormon, Montana.
Anything Montana is not a good sign.
Yeah.
Fuck them too. Who's next? Fuck Illinois. I live there. We got fuck New York. This is including all of your sports teams.
Yeah, not a fan of New York sports. We're actually going to have a New York sports fan on the podcast next week as a guest.
Who is that?
This guy from TikTok, his name's Kyle. He's got like 100,000 subs.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, Jackie Bradley, do you think he was overpaid, Colin, or do you think that was a good contract?
I definitely think he was overpaid. I mean, they already have 2 Gold Glove outfielders right now. So what they really need, in my opinion, is an outfielder who can hit the ball. And they signed a guy whose career batting average is like a 230 with like a career like 290 OBP. So I mean, they need a guy to get on base, and he's definitely not going to be that for them. So I think this was a stupid signing for in 12 million a year, for 2 years. It's way too much in my opinion.
Is he going to be in center field or left field? Because I know they still have Lorenzo Kane.
I think he might be in right field. I think Yelich has been playing a lot of left field last
Okay.
year, so he might be in right field.
Did Ryan Braun retire?
I don't even know what the fuck he's done. I think he was a free agent, but I don't know where he went or if he even signed. He might still be a free agent. Which
He's
I
probably
mean,
just fucking juicing in a Planet Fitness bathroom.
he probably is because once they caught him, he's been garbage ever since. So it's pretty obvious that was his only talent.
I remember the last time we went up to Milwaukee for a Brewers game. I almost got into a fight with a Brewers fan. It was a pretty good time.
It was.
I was literally just walking back to my car and I had a Cubs jersey on, and this dude's like, "Fuck you!" Just like tried coming after me. So I was like, "Okay."
The description of this person.
He was probably 6 foot, old white dude,
Oh, he's
bald.
old.
Yeah,
Oh, good.
definitely had a few beers that day. Highly intoxicated. But I mean, he's a fucking Brewers fan, so what do you expect? His life's just sad, so he's got to take his anger out on someone. In terms of the Nationals, their GM is looking to extend players soon. The Nationals GM, Mike Rizzo, told reporters that he is looking to sign Trey Turner and Juan Soto to an extension. What do you have on this for us, Colin?
So it sounds like he's currently talking to ownership about handing out multi-year extensions to these two players in particular, which makes a lot of sense because they're both young and they both have been really productive for them. So they're trying to lock them up before they reach free agency. So, I mean, I think this would definitely be beneficial for both sides if they were to lock them up.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Juan Soto is the best young player in the MLB right now. Trout's kind of out of that category because he's 29. But in terms of under 25, I say Juan Soto is probably the number one for me. He's probably my take for MVP this year in the NL. I think he's going to be one of the best players in the National League, maybe of all time. Definitely, he's going to be top 100 by the time he retires, and that's saying something. Definitely a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I agree. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll be a Hall of Famer. Just like what he's shown so far at this young point of his career has kind of been like unbelievable. So if he can stay healthy, he'll be like an all-timer.
Yeah. So let's go into our next take here. Let's go ahead and predict our MLB awards for this year. I'll go first. My NL MVP is Juan Soto. I think he is going to have a breakout year this year. He's already been hitting 300 and around 30 home runs a year. I mean, if he wasn't out for the beginning part of the year last year, I think he probably could have won MVP how he was playing. For NL Cy Young, I'm going to go with Jacob deGrom. This dude just been super consistent and lighting it up for the last fucking like 4 or 5 years. One of the only good things that franchise has seen. Now that they have some offensive production with Lindor there, I think he's going to get a lot more wins, which a lot of the MLB voters still care about for Cy Young. For Rookie of the Year, I'm going to go with Key Brian Hayes. I actually played for his dad at Team DeMarini. He's a fucking workhorse. This dude's going to be grinding all offseason. He already had a really good year last year, but I feel like this year he's just going to break away and show that he's the future of that team. Probably earn himself a really fat contract too. AL MVP, I'm going to go with Mike Trout. This dude is the best player in baseball, maybe the best player of all time. He's in his prime of hitting. Hitters normally reach their prime around 29, 30. So I think this year, as long as he stays healthy, we're going to see something out of him that we've never seen before. I'm predicting a 50 home run year with around 120 RBIs. In terms of AL Cy Young, I'm going to go with Shane Bieber. Although he does play for the Mistake by the Lake, I think that he is going to have a great year again. He won Cy Young last year in the AL pretty easily, and I think he's going to continue that. I feel like he's very similar to deGrom in the way that he pitches and the kind of stuff that he has and how unhittable he is at sometimes. So I look for that to continue. And for AL Rookie of the Year, if Wander Franco comes up and plays a whole year, I don't see a single way that he doesn't win it.
Let's go to Connor now. Let's go to Connor now for his baseball predictions. Love to hear these.
I'm gonna go with Scott Brzezinski. That's
Scott Posednik
that one.
or AJ Przinsky. Those are two different people.
Just both of them. They're both gonna win MVP, and then somehow the Cardinals are gonna win the championship. They're gonna win it all, and I don't know. What does Colin think about that?
Back to Chicken Boy.
Thanks. So NL MVP, I'm gonna go with Acuna. I would have picked Soto, but Nick picked him. I think Acuna is probably the second best young player in baseball right now. He's still really good. I just like him a lot. I think he's definitely a really good player. Jack Flaherty, I'm gonna go for NL Cy Young. I don't think that the big people are gonna win it this year, like DeGrom or I'm trying to think of the other big name, like Bauer.
Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, I just don't. I feel like they're gonna have a little bit of an off year this year. And I think Jack Flaherty is gonna have a really good year this year. He's really gonna break out this year. Kind of struggled last year. In terms of NL Rookie of the Year, I'm gonna go Ian Anderson. He pitched a little bit last year for the Braves, and he was really good. So I think he's gonna continue that. AL MVP or no, yeah, AL MVP is Jose Ramirez. He yet again had a really good year last year at the Indians. He's one of only two players on that team who's still like even okay. The rest of the team's kind of garbage. It's just him and Shane Bieber. So
I've seen some report today that he got in trouble or something.
I think he got some like COVID. He like left the facility or whatever.
So something that doesn't mean shit. Okay.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna pick him for AL MVP, and then for AL Cy Young, I'm gonna go Jose Barros. I don't know how to say his last name. The dude from the Twins.
Jose Barrios.
Yeah, there we go. The dude from the Twins. I like him a lot. I feel like he could definitely win it this year. And then for AL Rookie of the Year, I'm gonna go Nick Madrigal. I think that's how you say his name.
Madrigal.
Yeah, how you say his name. Fucking
Would you fuck him?
maybe. That's a hard maybe.
Devin Booker's dick is a bat.
I mean, I could probably hit a home run with that, if I want to be honest. And my reason behind picking Nick, not you, Nick, the professional player, Nick, for Rookie of the Year is because through 103 at-bats last year, he only struck out 7 times as a rookie. That's kind of ridiculous as a rookie to strike out 7 times 103 at-bats. So
damn, that is pretty impressive.
His bat-to-ball skills are ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty good at batting the ball there. So let's go to our next point here. Is Chris Sims crazy or a genius? For those of you that don't know, Chris Sims is a NFL analyst. He likes to talk about the draft. And for the last few years, he's given his top 5 or 6 QBs, and he's ranked them. And for this year, he has Zach Wilson as the number 1 quarterback in the draft, ranking him above Trevor Lawrence. And his take on it was Zach Wilson is clearly the number 1 quarterback in the draft. There is a separation. Zach Wilson is a really, really special football player from every aspect and angle. What do you think? Do you think he's just Mormon and is trying to spread the word of John Smith? Or do you think that Zach Wilson is really that talented?
So when I first saw this, I thought that he was just crazy. And I was like, how do you think Zach Wilson is number 1? But then I did a little bit of research and I looked at some of his previous quarterback rankings that were like this, and I think he might actually be onto something, because if you look at his other rankings, which I'll go through in a second, he hit basically perfectly on every single one of them, which is kind of crazy. So in 2020, his quarterback rankings top 5 were Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Tua, and Jacob Eason. Joe Burrow is definitely the best quarterback in the draft before he got injured last year. I wasn't super high on Justin Herbert last year, but it seemed like he saw something I did, obviously, and he really, I think it was second game of the year, he came in for Tyrod Taylor after his team doctor like stabbed him or something.
Yeah, I paid him too.
Nice.
I paid him too.
Nice.
I had him for Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, you have all those rookie cards too, so
yeah,
makes sense. But yeah, Herbert had a great year. Jordan Love, who knows? I mean, he's going to be a fucking bench player for the next 4 years because of Aaron Rodgers, so that was just a terrible pick by Green Bay. Idiots. Tua, I never thought he was that good, to be honest. I didn't think he was going to be a bust. I just never thought he was going to be worthy of like a top 10 pick. And he's not looking good. And then Jacob Eason, he sat the bench, so
Got a hot mom though.
he does. I did see that. I saw on Twitter. You want to go through 2019, Nick?
Yeah. So we got Kyler Murray, number 1. I mean, that's pretty given. That was a really weak quarterback class. Number 2, he had Drew Lock. Number 3, he had Dwayne Haskins, who is fucking terrible.
Fuck you.
Probably one of the worst quarterbacks that Ohio State has ever seen. The Hunchback is a huge Notre Dame fan, so I'm just taking a few jabs at him.
I'm gonna fucking kill you.
Jared Stidham. I don't even think this dude's in the fucking league anymore, is he?
No, he's in the Patriots. He's their backup. He
Oh,
came
yeah,
in.
that's right.
Yeah, he
He
came
actually-
in. He came
Yeah,
in
no.
when
He was like supposed to get the starting job before Cam got signed.
Yeah.
I think he probably would have been a better option to. Number 5, we got Ryan Finley. He was the backup for Joe Burrow, and in the few games that he played, he was pretty fucking terrible. But I mean, the Bengals were still good enough to beat the Steelers, who
That wasn't
might
with Finley.
be. That wasn't with Finley.
No, that was with the third stringer.
Damn.
It was way better than Finley.
I mean, either way, that just shows how bad the Steelers really are.
Would agree.
They suck.
Don't even get me started about the fucking Steelers.
And number 6, we got Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. I think this list is pretty fucked up because I think Danny Jones is probably a top 5 quarterback in the league.
He can run faster than any any player, right? Other than maybe Tyreek.
He's faster than a fucking cheetah, bro. There was actually a 60-yard dash between him and Tyreek Hill, and he beat Tyreek Hill by 1 whole second.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And
As long as he doesn't trip.
they actually set him up next to a Tesla Roadster and had a drag race, and he actually beat it too. So watch out for this guy. He's got some wheels.
I'm sure the New York guy for next week will have to tell you all about it.
Yeah, he's actually a Jets fan. So,
Oh, he's from real New York.
so what do you think about the 2019 ranking, Colin?
honestly, if you just put Daniel Jones as number 2, the ranking looked perfect to me. He admitted that he just missed on Daniel Jones. He admitted that, and I mean, the rest of the ranking looked perfect outside of putting Daniel Jones 2nd to 6th. So
2018 is pretty interesting here. He had Lamar Jackson as number 1. He had Josh Allen as number 2. He had Baker as number 3. Sam Darnold, the guy who kisses 13-year-olds and gets mono, at number 4. And Josh Rosen, dude with the fucking massive forehead, at number 5. It's pretty shocking that he knew that Lamar was going to be the best QB out of this draft. I mean, he was, I think, the last pick in the first round, maybe the second to last pick by the Ravens.
It's definitely Josh Allen now.
I think Josh Allen
I'm
is.
still giving the nod to Lamar.
I think Josh Allen's more talented.
Josh Allen has Diggs and Brown. Marquise Brown is the worst wide receiver 1 in the NFL.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
terrible.
And
I
Diggs
hate
is the
him.
best.
Like Lamar has no option. Mark Andrews took a huge step back this year. He was not nearly as good.
I know
I'm
he
still
was on
giving
my
it to
fantasy
Lamar.
team.
Yeah, I'm still giving it to Lamar. Over
Yeah, Lamar, he already won an MVP. Like, as a second-year player, he had a fucking insane year. So, as of right now, I'm still going to give the nod to him, but I think Josh Allen is going to have the overall better career just because his play style is way more sustainable, and Buffalo knows how to put pieces around him to actually win. So, I like him as the number 1 quarterback now, but in terms of when the rankings came out, I could see exactly why he put Lamar above him. Baker at number 3, that's pretty accurate. I never really was high on Baker coming out of college. I kind of knew that he wasn't going to be as good as Josh Allen, who I was the highest on in that draft class. Sam Darnold, another guy who just really didn't prove himself in college. He only played 1 year, I believe. And, I mean, he lit it up at USC, but other than that, wasn't that great. And Josh Rosen, I mean, we don't even need to talk about this guy. He fucking sucks. I think he got released by the Cardinals, like, instantly, and then went to the Dolphins and got released by them, too. Or does he still play for them?
I think he's in the 49ers now. I think he got picked up by them on waivers or something.
Damn.
Yeah,
I still think Donald could be okay in a better system. Sorry to next week's guy or whatever, but I think the Jets suck ass and don't know how to run a team. So
The Jets do suck ass, and that's not his fault. Yeah, there's no future for Darnold. I mean, his best option was probably getting traded this offseason to, I mean, like the Colts, the Bears, 49ers,
Pittsburgh was up there.
some team that was looking for a QB, but it looks like now he's kind of just stuck in the Jets system, and they're probably going to go with Zach Wilson at number 2. So he's probably not going to have a job for much longer. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him being a starting quarterback anywhere. I mean, most teams right now probably know that they're going to draft Wilson second overall, so his value is probably like a third or fourth round pick at most, and the Jets aren't going to want that in return. So, yeah, I don't see him really starting.
Mm-hmm. So let's go to our next point here. The Chicago Bears are planning to pursue Russell Wilson. The Chicago Bears were actually said to be the highest bidder for Wilson and Deshaun Watson so far. And after the big news today of the Cowboys extending Dak Prescott, that pretty much takes them out of the conversation, as well as the Saints being ridiculously over the cap. So there's only 2 options left really for Russell Wilson, and that is the Chicago Bears and the Raiders. And it's looking like the Bears have the best shot. What do you have for us on that?
Yeah, so the Saints are almost 70 million in the red right now for their cap, so there's no way they'll be able to shed that money and then add Wilson onto that. That's pretty much impossible. Like you said, the Cowboys just signed Dak, so that's not going to happen. They're not going to trade him now. That makes no sense. And then the Raiders are currently looking to extend Derek Carr, so why would they be looking to extend him if they're going to trade him? So the Bears sounds like right now are the only team desperate enough to actually probably reach their asking price. So if I was the Seahawks, they would definitely be smart to trade him as soon as they can.
Yeah, things will be looking up for Chicago if we can get Russell Wilson. This dude has God on his side, so he may be able to lead us to a championship.
I think he'll stay in Seattle. I think he stays in Seattle this year.
Bullshit. He's going to the Bears.
I think he only has another year left on his contract. I think he might just hold it out.
I
think it's
he'll
more.
ever retire.
Yeah, I think it's more. I think he has like 2 or 3 left.
Does he?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so-
think
I think he's on the Seahawks this year.
If I'm the
Seahawks
Bears,
are traded.
if I'm the Bears, I'm giving up everything. I'm giving up like 3 first-round picks and a player to get him. We need him so bad.
If the Bears get Wilson, what do the Steelers get? Like, what is left?
They got Dwayne Haskins, and they
got one
re-signed. They re-signed Big Ben for the next
They
year.
got
I
Ben
think.
next year.
Oh, okay.
Which honestly, I hated Ben for a little while, but when I look back at it, I don't think it's a lot of it wasn't his fault. A lot of it went on Finker, their coordinator, who was just the worst offensive coordinator ever.
Another rape case let go by Roger Goodell.
There you go. He's stacking them on.
Yeah.
allegedly.
The Seahawks.
Alleged rape cases.
The Seahawks are taking offers for Wilson right now. They actually publicly announced that, and like I said in the previous episode, Wilson does have the no trade clause, and said the only teams he wants to go to are Chicago, Vegas, New Orleans, which is not a possibility, and Dallas, which is now not a possibility as well. So that means Bears fans, we have a 50% chance of getting him. So that's something to look forward to. On to our next point about the Cowboys. They just extended Dak to that 4-year, $160 million deal, $126 million guaranteed, and a no trade clause. Do you think they overpaid for him, Colin, or do you think this contract is going to be worth it?
I think they absolutely paid for him. I mean, even when he was healthy, not 2 seasons ago, they still couldn't win any games with him. So I mean, I don't think it's his fault. I think it was the defense just sucked. But still, I mean, I think they definitely overpaid him. I think he's definitely a worse quarterback than Watson and Wilson. That's not saying he's bad. I just think Wilson and Watson are better quarterbacks. So he should not be in.
I think he's better than both of them.
I think he's a top 10 in the league.
I think he's a top 5 in the league.
He's
I'm
getting paid
very-
like a top 2. In the
I'm
league now,
very
right?
high on Dak Prescott. I think he's a top 5 quarterback in the league. This dude has showed that he can do a lot with very little. And dude, he's just insane. He has a fucking cannon. He can read the field. He's kind of proven, even in a shit system with a shit head coach, that he can still get the job done. I'm taking him over Russell Wilson and Deshaun Watson any day. He's still younger than both of them too. Maybe not Watson, but
He's not younger than Watson. He's 28.
He can't-
28.
Yeah.
He was in college for like 5 years.
Damn. I mean, I still like him better though.
Just to say really quickly, so 2 years ago, the Cowboys won 8 games with Prescott being fully healthy. This year with him missing like almost the whole year, they won 6 games. So, I mean,
I think 4 of those came with Dak though. They went 4-0 before he
yeah.
did.
Let me go look it up 1 second. Let's see. So
Yeah, I'm
schedules.
pretty sure they were 4-0.
I don't think
I'll
they
save you
were.
the time there.
No, I'm gonna look it up because I don't think that's right.
It might have been 3-1 actually.
Got to close all those porn tabs first.
I know there's a lot. Got to keep them open. Okay, so here we go. He played 5 games. I'm gonna name it the first 5 games. LWLLW.
So 2 dubs?
Yeah, they were 2 and 3 with Prescott being healthy. So is Prescott really that big of a contributor in terms of wins?
The 2 and 3 was probably first in the NFC East.
It was.
It probably was, but still.
I
You only
mean,
have to win.
you can't put it all on him for that defense.
I'm not
He
putting it
can't
all.
control
I'm not putting it all. I'm just saying that is he really that important to that team if they started the year 2 and 3 and they went 6 and 10?
I think so. I think they need him. I think any team in the NFL would be fucking blessed to have him as their quarterback.
I do too. I just don't think he's better than Watson and Wilson. I think those two are definitely better because Wilson's
I
never
mean,
missed
Deshaun Watson's team was shit this year too.
But
So
I mean,
if you want to play that card, then that's where we can go with that.
well, I mean, you got to remember who their GM was through the whole season.
Okay. Jerry Jones is calling the shots for the Cowboys, and he hasn't done anything good since fuck that hooker in 2005.
Dax
I mean-
also had, was the dumbass before Fat McCarthy?
Jason Garrett.
Jason
Jason
Garrett.
Garrett. I mean, how do you?
Harvard graduate Jason Garrett, I believe.
Who cares?
Put Dak in a semi-viable system with a semi-good coach like the 49ers. Actually, he's not semi-good. The 49ers coach is fucking great.
Mike
Shanahan.
Shanahan,
He's
yeah.
amazing. No.
Okay.
Dak on the 49ers. They're super.
Yeah, they're
Bowl
super. Okay,
contenders.
let's go to like a worse team then. I even put Sean McVay as a good coach, but he's not on that same tier as Shanahan. So let's just say he went to the Rams. I think McVay's a little bit of an overrated coach. If he went to the Rams instead of Matthew Stafford, that team is a Super Bowl contender because of that defense. And even though he has lesser of weapons on offense, like Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp, who don't really line up with the likes of Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, and they have someone else too, Michael Gallup. I think he still leads that team to a Super Bowl.
All right, I got a bold prediction about the Rams right now.
Let's hear it.
They will be in the Super Bowl next year.
Bullshit.
Matthew Stafford is so fucking underrated, and going from I get he's not like probably a top 7 guy, but Goff is just absolutely terrible. And they beat the Seahawks or not even Goff. What they had that stupid fucker that broke his neck on the first play or whatever of the playoff game.
Oh yeah,
Remember?
yeah.
And then Goff
Yeah.
came in as the backup.
It was like Wofford or like Worcester.
Stafford is
it was,
so far beyond
Case
Goff.
Keenum, I believe.
No, it wasn't. It was that weird
Wofford
dude that- he had,
or
like, curly
Wofford or
blonde
whatever.
hair. He was a young guy.
Yeah.
No, but I think Stafford is so much better than Goff. They have really good receivers. If Kupp and Woods can stay healthy,
If Stafford goes to a Super Bowl, though, it kind of just like
who was the
solidifies all
rookie,
the
who was the
talk
rookie they
we
had
can
last
do.
year? The running back. I
Cam
got
Akers.
Cam Akers. I get him and Keyshawn, but I'm confused all the time which one but where. But he looked amazing in the latter half.
He
of the
really did.
season.
He did.
And that defense is probably the best defense in the league, and that's come from a Steelers fan.
Damn. Aaron Donald over TJ
Like
Watt.
I think people are underestimating how good that team could be next year. I mean,
Yeah.
Super Bowl may be a reach. I may be going a little crazy there, but
They were sneaky good
but
this
like
year.
they could be fucking good next year. I think they'll win that division next year.
I think people forgot about them after the world's most boring Super Bowl,
Yeah.
and then they kind of came back this year and were just like nobody was paying attention to them.
Well, they sucked at the beginning of the year, and then they rattled off like 4 or 5 straight.
And then they got fucked by the Jets, so no one gave a fuck about him again.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
That was funny. That was like the last leg of a parlay I had, and I literally like threw my fucking shoe at the TV so fucking hard. But Dak now ranks number 2 in terms of quarterback pay per year. We got Patty Mahomes at number 1. He definitely deserves this. He's probably the best quarterback talent-wise that the league has seen. He's definitely the best quarterback in the league right now. Number 2, Dak Prescott, now at $40 million a year. Number 3, Deshaun Watson, 39.
It would have been Roethlisberger too before that pay cut that he took.
Yeah, he did take a pay cut.
Because he was going to get paid 41.8 this year.
Jeez. At this point in his career, that's fucking pathetic.
Yeah. No, that's why the Steelers were like, either retire or take a huge pay cut because you're not playing on that contract.
And then number 4, we got Russell Wilson. He's probably donating like 3/4 of it to charity though. So
to feed a future son, which is the fact that Russell Wilson has a son named Future Junior is my favorite thing in sports, probably.
That's funny.
I think the future story about fucking Scottie Pippen's wife is one of the most savage things ever.
Mm-hmm.
Just like you didn't give me an autograph as a kid, so I fucked your wife 20 years later, and now she's just getting passed around the league. Devin Booker's taking a turn on her.
Devin Booker, what was it?
Malik Beasley. She was going after Bronny James.
No,
I'm not even
kidding. He liked her picture.
Oh yeah, that's what it was.
He liked her picture.
Hey, I heard she slid in the DM, so we may have to get.
And then Scottie Pippen's son had to go on Twitter and be like, I don't care about this.
He's actually a baller.
He is good.
He plays for Vanderbilt. He's really good.
He's on Vanderbilt? I thought he was in Colorado.
No, he's on Vandy.
There's someone's son is it Kenny Martin Jr. or something like that? Some old NBA player, son plays for Colorado. He's a baller.
Kenny Martin Jr. is in the NBA now on the Rockets.
Is he?
Yeah.
Maybe he played for Colorado and he graduated. I can't remember.
Bronny James confirmed MILF watcher though.
I respect it.
I mean, he has enough clout to tap him.
Oh, dude, Bronny James could get a mill for sure, no doubt.
Get up in them like Delonte West got up in his dad.
So we're gonna have to get Chris Hansen on Scottie Pippen's wife because she's going after 16-year-old Bronny James. So be on the lookout for that on Dateline NBC. She might be
confirmed
premiering
here on the We Want to Fuck Devin Booker podcast. Larsa Pippen is trying to fuck Bronny James. Per source.
Brendan. So that pretty much wraps it up for this week's episode of the Jockstrap Podcast, guys. Go ahead and leave us a like and share it with your friends. Also, go ahead and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Say some brutal shit. Go ahead and roast the fuck out of us. Just something funny. We just want to see a lot of reviews in there. Do you have anything else to say, Colin?
No.
Come on. Say something.
How much do you love hockey?
Not at all. Fuck hockey.
How much do you jack off?
There goes all of
I
Canada.
mean, I'm a player right now, so maybe a little bit too much.
How big is your dick?
The fuck?
Is it bigger than Devin Booker's dick?
Uh,
Back on the Devin Booker Dick podcast.
Absolutely not.
How many of your dicks could you fit in Devin Booker's dick?
Fuck, I don't know. Somebody else these questions.
Well, we don't know how big your dick is, so you can't ask us.
No, ask. Oh my god.
We're putting you on trial, Colin.
On trial? What do you mean?
You're being alleged.
Of what?
Not telling us your dick size. God damn it. We can't do Devin Booker dick math. We don't know.
Okay.
All right, guys. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up here before we get sent to a prison. So we will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us.